Cool. All right. So we're gonna start our meeting this evening with the pulley of your board member, well, newly sworn in board member, Uncle Kelvin Endo. Uncle Kelvin, are you there?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my camera not working, but let's pray. Father, we just thank you for a new start with new board members, and refresh us, refresh our community, especially we pray for those once again the families, friends that have been hurt by violence. Lord, comfort, bring healing. And Lord, fill our community with your compassion and your love. Take away the hatred, the anger. Replace it with your peace. And Lord, once again, we ask your blessing over our board meeting, that all that is done, we done to honor you. For pray this in Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Amen. That was item 2. So item 3, we're gonna start. But before we do that, Jeffrey, I know that you had made announcements on the bathrooms and that we're gonna be shortening our meeting tonight, but was it being recorded when you said that?
It was not.
Can you go over
Repeat
it
it again?
Yeah, can you say it again, what it's being recorded? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm doing this message another time for the online users and for the recording as well. This meeting will end after we do our last board business item, which is approval of minutes. And the reason for that is there's no accessible bathroom in the physical meeting space. Both bathrooms are locked, and with the ADA compliance, which we do follow for our board meetings, we will be ending the meeting short. So just for the record, we'll be doing the call to order and pulley, which we just did, the election of officers, city emergency first responders reports, and then board business. And then the meeting will be recessed until next month. So we'll be picking up just next month's meeting as we normally would. And that is my message for the online community and community in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Sorry about that, community. I'm upset about that, but we have to do what we have to do. So anyway, item 3, elections of officers to serve from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 26. First up is chair, and I would like to elect Terry Tavainga as chair.
Accept that nomination.
I accept the nomination. I'm sorry. I accept the nomination.
There's a second by Uncle Richard Lampert. Right now is the voting of members, board members. Nani?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Are there any other nominations for chair amongst the board? Good. Would you like to conduct the vote, Cock, or would you like me to do it?
I'll do it. Mr. Endo, do you have anybody you want to elect?
No, Terry is good.
Okay, we're good. All right, so right now we're having a board members to vote on. There was second by Uncle Richard. So starting off with the votes right now, Nani,
Aye.
Joe Jordan,
Aye.
Makani,
Aye.
Uncle Calvin,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Uncle Richard. We have a unanimous decision. So the gavel goes over to Chair Terry.
Congratulations. You can sit there. So you'll.
So now do we have nominations? Nominations is open for vice chair.
I nominate Dana Newman as vice chair.
Is there a second? Uncle Lanford, second that motion. Is there any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, no other nominations?
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I nominate Cross.
Okay, so Cross Crab is been nominated. Is there a second?
I second.
D- Dana second that motion.
Chair, with that being said, I recluse my to Dana and I'll support Makani.
Okay. Okay, so.
Okay, so we'll conduct a vote. The first one will be technically for first and second vice chair, Dana being the first and Cross being the second. So I'll do the vote for Dana first, and then I'll do the vote for Cross following that. So when I call your name, you can say aye, or you can say the name of the person being voted for. Again, this is for Dana and for Cross. Board Member Endo.
Dana.
This is for Dana, yes. And we'll follow with Cross after that.
Oh, aye.
Board Member Crab.
Dana.
Board Member Dana Newman online. This is for yourself.
Yes.
Board Member
I'll vote
Vahilani.
for me.
Board Member Vahilani.
Aye.
Board Member Lanford. Board Member Peterson. Board Member Jordan. And Chair. Okay, and the next going for Cross. We'll go in the same order. Board Member Endo. This is for second vice chair. Board Member Endo, are you available to share online? If not, I'll circle around.
Oh, yeah, aye. Yeah,
Okay. Board Member Crab.
Aye.
Board Member Newman.
Aye.
Board Member Wahilani.
Aye.
Board Member Lanford. Board Member Peterson. Board Member Jordan. And Chair Wai'anae.
Okay, so with that being said, Dana is the first vice chair and Cross Crab is second. So now we have nominations open for secretary. Secretary? Any nominations?
Joe.
Nomination for Joe Jordan, is there a second?
Thank you, but no thank you.
Okay, so Joe Jordan declined for secretary. Is there any other nomination for secretary? Okay, so at this time, there's no one, so we're gonna skip that and move that to the next meeting in August. So treasurer, is there any nominations for treasurer?
I nominate Uncle Kelvin Endo.
Second.
So Mr. Endo, you've been nominated for treasurer and there was a second. Do you accept the nomination?
okay.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations for treasurer?
Okay, so for treasurer, for Board Member Endo, that's online. I'll do it the same order again. Board Member Endo.
Okay, aye.
Board Member Crab.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Wahilani.
Ew.
Shalanford. Peterson.
Aye.
Jordan.
Aye.
And Wai'anae.
Aye. Okay, so now Sergeant at Arms, is there any nominations for Sergeant at Arms?
I nominate Coco Ohuahilani.
Is there a second on that? Thank you, Uncle Lanford. So Wahilani has been nominated for Sergeant at Arms. Is there any other nominations?
All right, here are no other nominations. Again, I'll go down the same order. This is for Sergeant of Arms for Board Member Wahilani. Board Member Endo.
Aye.
Board Member Crab.
Aye.
Board Member Newman online.
Aye.
Board Member Wahilani.
Ew.
Board Member Lanford. Board Member Peterson.
Aye.
Board Member Jordan.
Aye.
And Chair Wai'anae.
Aye. Okay, so now on to number 4, city emergency and first responders and city official reports. So we got Honolulu Fire Department. HFD. Nobody online. Okay. So next one is Honolulu Police Department, HPD.
Hi, good evening, board. Corporal Corey Makino, District 8, Community Policing Team. Online with me is Corporal Roland Pagan, Sergeant Fumi Moroka, and Lieutenant Marina Correa. The stats for the month of June 2025, motor vehicle thefts in the district was 11. In the area of Wai'anae was 2. Burglaries was 13 for the district. Wai'anae was 4. Thefts for the district was 89. Wai'anae was 24. Unauthorized entry into motor vehicles was 25 for the district and 6 in the Wai'anae area. Total calls for service for the district was 8,283. And total calls in Wai'anae was 1,889. And for traffic stats, total of 18 speeding citations. Moving violations was 1,025. Parking violations was 34. And total citations issued was 1,504. Now open for any questions, comments, or concerns.
Any questions from,
Could you repeat the last 2 stats, please? Parking and the last one.
Parking stats was 34 citations issued. And total citations issued was 1,504.
Mahalo.
go ahead, questions?
Corporal Makino, this is Board Member Crab. My question is in regards to the chief stepping down and the appointed chief stepping in. Would you say that with that transition, like the services that is being provided for our district remain stable during that transition time?
Right now, we haven't heard anything, any changes in our district. I just know the patrol officers will just continue to work as they've been doing so. Yeah, we haven't really heard anything from the upstairs.
Mahalo.
Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, HPD, for showing up. My question is there any investigation going on the Wai'anae Moku of ghost guns? That's my question.
So I know that we did have a recent arrest at the Wai'anae High School regarding a firearm. I believe they are investigating the ghost guns. They are working with the federal task force as well. I'm not too sure what or how far the investigation is going, but yeah, I just know that they are currently trying to work on that.
Thank you, appreciate it. Would it be, if you could keep us informed? We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Tips from the community. Go ahead and step up to the mic and say your name, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. Actually, I have two short questions. The first one is, was there a determination of where that individual at the Wai'anae High School got the ghost gun? And then the second one, what is the process? What is the progress of the construction at the police station, Wai'anae? Thank you.
So regarding the ghost gun, I believe it's still under investigation. I believe the juvenile was released pending investigation. I haven't really heard where the investigation is going. They haven't really released much of the information to us regarding the ghost guns, and I don't really have any updates regarding the Wai'anae police station at this time.
Sorry, if I could real quick. Yeah, the gun with at the school, it is still under investigation, so we really can't talk much about it. As far as the Wai'anae station, my understanding is I believe that the contract has been awarded. I think Councilmember Tubola can clarify that more, but I believe they said the contract was awarded and they're working on the designs or something like that. So it is moving forward. We're just not sure exactly where they're at the moment.
Okay, thank you guys. You guys be safe too.
Thank you.
Come up to the microphone and say your name, please.
My name is Carlo Tanwakio. I was just wondering if you had any idea about how many of those citations were related to alcohol or liquor.
Yeah, our statistics basically is just the traffic violations. I don't have the actual stats right now regarding if any of them was DUI related.
Okay.
But again, yeah, we can probably try to get the stats for you guys if you guys need.
Specifically for Wai'anae would be excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we can try to look into that.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead.
Mahalo, Blessing Star de la Cruz. My question is it possible to have included also the statistics and stats numbers in regards to what's going on, like not only the crime rate, but specifically like our shooting, murders, stabbings, and included, of course, the ghost guns, game rooms, and so forth? Is that possible that you could provide that as well, other than just traffic violations, numbers and such? Thank you.
Yeah, if I could, the stats that we provide are provided uniformly across the island. Those are stats that we provide based on the fact that they are things that we can actually look for trends, thefts and burglaries and car break-ins and stuff like that. To be honest, for us to give everything that everybody's asking, you can go onto the HonoluluPD.org website and you can go to the crime mapping and you can look at the stats there. That's where we direct everyone there. For us to have our officers go through and think through all of those different stats for every different board, for every different request, I wouldn't be able to get my officers back on the road. So those stats are available online, and the department does direct everybody to the crime mapping online, and they can get all the information. You can even put your area of where you live, so you could map out what's happening right around your area up to, I believe, 5 miles from your area.
How often is those stats updated?
They're pretty current as far as my understanding. That comes from the computer, from the dispatch going over to our ITD, our computer people. So I can't really tell you exactly where it is. What is important for people to understand is that a lot of times if someone reports a robbery and the officers go there and they come to find out that it's a theft, people may say, oh, I reported a robbery, but it doesn't show a robbery. It's because of the elements dictate something different. So it's not necessarily what you call about, it's how the cases are classified. So again, somebody may call for somebody threatening somebody with a gun, and we go there and there's no gun mentioned. The stats aren't going to show that there was a gun call. So the stats will show basically what the officers classify the case as.
One more last question, Mahalo. Is it possible for you to tell the community in regards to that app that you have out in your department for the community to use? It's called HPD, so that community people are notified for what's going on in the area. Is that possible for you to do that?
Yeah, like I said, it's at the HonoluluPD.org website, and you can just go to the crime mapping tab, and it'll allow you to put in your address and how far of an area you want to search. And it'll give you a map and all these little symbols of what type of crimes are there.
Mahalo. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Aloha, guys. Thank you very much. Pikachu shall be a billionaire. I was at the police commissioner's meeting. You guys see my testimonial. I have right here in front of me, guys didn't appear. This is the 2025 fiscal budget, right? It's 121 million dollars of allotment. Your expense is 69.8 million, and your remaining is 51.4 million dollars. How much of this is coming into Wai'anae? Because city and county, there was ha, Matt Wire, whatever happened. Me and the Salcedos were late night till 9, 10 o'clock at night to testify for the money. And now they switch it. Andrew Polo's now our vice chair. They're not saying in the public, but I got the money right here in front of me. We got Chief Roddy Vanek as the new interim chair. I want to know how you guys are going to use this money working with our new neighborhood board, with city and county, state reps, federal, and just being transparent. Because I love whoever made this with the majors. So I would like to know, how can we work this together? Because there's $51,410,670.34. Thank you very much.
Chair, I have another question.
Go ahead.
Corporal Pagan or Corporal Makino, is there any investigations going on? Because I know that previous meetings, as well as last year, the mention of sex trafficking in Wai'anae. So is there any task force out there? I know that HPD, you guys understaffed. However, sex trafficking is a freaking, it's a bad thing. And, so I was just wondering if there is a task force out there, because community members have spoken in this meetings, Wai'anae Neighborhood Board, as well as town halls, voicing their manao and their concerns on sex trafficking in Wai'anae.
The sex trafficking does come under our Narcotics Vice Division. They do work with our IEU, our intelligence unit, as well as with the federal government side for that. So there is a task force that does it. To be honest, they don't give us too much information about it because of what they're doing, and the classification and stuff like that. So they do have a unit, a couple of units that actually work on stuff like that. Again, it doesn't necessarily come down to the patrol area unless the patrol officers come across a suspected case, and then they report it and it gets forwarded up to them, and the investigation starts that way. So we really wouldn't be able to comment on any type of investigation that's going on in regards to that type of cases right now.
Corporate Pagan, is there a liaison with that task force so that, could keep the community informed, because if we don't know and, they don't share that information with you, but yet it's still going on, and, and our community are suffering because of that too. I mean, wouldn't it be prudent that we, you folks have a liaison to the community, Wai'anae community, to at least, keep us informed about that, because that's a heavy topic. Just wanted to share that, manao.
We can forward that over to our Narcotics Vice Division. It would actually fall under them. Rest assured that if there's something that the officers need to know, then that information is shared. But again, if they're doing an investigation, the last thing we want is an officer on patrol that doesn't know what's going on, going into an area where an investigation is going on and mess up the investigation somehow. So, but we will forward it over to the Narcotics Vice Division, let them know and see what they can provide you guys.
Thank you, Corporal Pagan.
Okay, thank you for that, HPD. So I'd like to entertain to add ocean safety, since the captain is here in person. If we can add that as item 4.7. That's one of you can make the motion. Grab the mic.
I make the motion to add the agenda item of Ocean Safety Division as number 4.7 to the agenda of this evening.
Second.
Thank you for that. So next up is Board of Water Supply.
Good evening, board members and community. Kauai Hilo from Board of Water. I apologize for last month. I was sick, so I couldn't attend. This month, I'm glad to report there was no main breaks. We have finished that patch in front of Burger King, so that's nice and smooth again. General water announcements. July is Smart Irrigation Month. July marks Smart Irrigation Month, the beginning of peak demand for outdoor water use as the summer heat kicks in and sprinklers go into overdrive. Be water smart this July. Check for leaky or misdirected sprinkler heads. Water early in the morning to reduce evaporation. Attach a shutoff nozzle to your garden hose to avoid waste. Install a weather-based irrigation control eligible for BWS rebates. Capture rainwater in a rain barrel, also eligible for BWS rebates. Smarter irrigation helps keep our landscape green and may lower your water bill. Get more tips at www.borderwatersupply.com/irrigation. Any questions?
Oh, sorry, board. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. Could I thank you for also paving on Lahaina Street? There was a private main that broke about 2 or 3 months ago, and you guys also, between our last month and this month, repaved in front of that house on Lahaina Street. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
In previous years during this time, the county has been in drought. Are we in a drought this year or no?
I can check on that and get back to you.
Mahalo.
Anyone else on the board have any questions? Okay, community.
Thank you, Chair, Madam Chair, James Cowles. I got a question. The paving work in front of Burger King. Getting onto that spot, not so good. Driving through it, kind of smooth, but getting off of it, not so good. I've done paving for 46 years over here with Grace Pacific and a few other paving companies over here. So over the years, I know what it's like to do paving work. And to me, whoever did the paving job, getting on, because I just drove over it tonight, getting here. Getting onto that, not so good. And getting off of it, you still got a beginning and end part, but in the middle is fine. It's all flat, but getting on and getting off, it's not the normal patchwork that they usually do. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know why they didn't integrate it with the road like they're supposed to. If you can check on that, that'd be good. Thank you.
Anybody else has any questions? Come up. Just state your name.
Hi, Carlo Tanwakio. I have a few questions. The first is, I'm not an engineer, but I live in Makaha Valley, and a couple times a week up on the hill or on the mountain, you guys release pressure, and it's got to be hundreds or maybe thousands of gallons of water each time. And this has been going on for maybe a year or so. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but I was wondering if that was normal or what's going on with that. Maybe you get just
How often are they releasing this pressure that you're talking about?
maybe once a week or once every other week. And so they open up the fire hydrant and then they're releasing hundreds or thousands of gallons of water, and it hits my property line and our wall, and it goes straight into the drain. So I couldn't imagine that that would be a good use of resources.
I'll check on that and I'll get his address too.
Thank you for that.
Chair. Chair.
Yes.
Oh, you have another question? So,
Thank you. So, about sometime last year, there were a couple of main water breaks down in Makaha Valley that took out all of the water in our neighborhood for maybe a day or so, and then it was on and off. When I asked about what that repair entailed, I didn't get sufficient information. They just said that there was a defective clamp. And I think it would be good for everybody to understand what the repair entailed instead of And so we're not putting Band-Aid solutions on things and we're really fixing the root cause of the infrastructure. Is there any possible route to find out exactly what happened so we can get a sufficient report of what that repair entailed?
I'll just have to get the specific address and I'll look through our previous jobs in the area.
Just the board.
Oh, sorry, apologies.
Okay. So I want to ask you if you can fill out that half paper in the back, because we want to address that directly to you said mayor, yeah? To the mayor's report.
Thank you.
It's highly important. And then the question he asked you about last year, if you could give us that information so that at the next meeting we can share that information. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Okay.
and apologies, this is my first time coming to a meeting. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
My last question is, from what I understand, there's a resort being built in Makaha Valley. I can see the construction from my house, and I don't know what that entails exactly, but I wonder if you guys have gotten reports to see if that resort can support, the infrastructure of the water can support all that new construction.
Yeah, and so if you can give us that answer at the next meeting, that'd be great.
I will have that ready.
Okay.
Write down his question.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And then Coco.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one up is Department of Parks and Recreation, DPR. Yeah, I know, but that's 4.7. So we're going in order. Yeah. Okay, so no one for DPR. So now it's Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, online Donna Puna.
Aloha, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, thank you. So I just have one question from the last time. It was on HPD cultural training. Can the actual curriculum or documents be provided to the board for review? HPD responded, unfortunately, the actual curriculum or documents requested cannot be provided to the board. These documents are only provided via subpoenas issued by the courts or for other such litigation or related purposes. Releasing these documents outside of the aforementioned procedures unfortunately creates a precedence. As such, we cannot release the curriculum or documents. Thank you for your understanding in the matter. Other than that, I don't have any other responses or questions, but I'm here for any questions that you have.
Any questions from the board?
Yes, I have a question. Hey, Don, good to see you again. So what you just stated, it's kind of, you're sharing that, but anyway, HPD is to serve the community, right? It's my understanding. And so, especially for us as Kanako Iwi I find it kind of peculiar that HPD, or it's like wrapped up in some red tape that they can't share anything, any information on culture training, especially for us in Wai'anae, being that we get the most Kanako Iwi on the planet in this moku. So, it sounds like it's like a legal issue. And if it is, like, it's kind of vague, what you had mentioned about that. So, yeah, I'm just kind of taken back about that, Don.
Yes, I'll take those comments back. Thank you.
Any other board member has any questions? Okay.
I'd like to
can
ask a question. Sorry.
Sorry, Dana,
This
go
is
ahead.
Board Member Newman. The question that I would ask Don is that consistent with other police forces around the United States in terms of nobody shares their curriculum on what type of cultural competencies they are training their officers with?
Okay, yeah, I'll take that question back and provide it to HPD to provide some answers.
Thank you.
You have a question? Come up to the mic.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is James Cowles. Don, are you still with DPP?
Yes.
Okay, my question I have for you is, what is the status on that illegal grubbing by Lehoko Elementary School? I brought that up about 10 years ago. And over the years, there's been some push and some pushback, and I just wanted to find out what the status is on that, Mr. Kingsley. I want to know what's going on with that property. I know there was a fine on his property. At the time when I found out, I heard about it was $2 million fine so far. I want to find out what the status is on that right now. Thank you.
Now we're moving to Kapua online. Kapua?
Aloha, Don. Mahalo for representing the mayor. I have some questions regarding the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. We are now able to do our own planning and permitting within the department. So, which is a good move because there is a backlog within the county. So I have a couple questions. One is, can you give me the annual number of Hawaiian homes, DPP development that you folks have done on an annual basis over the last 3 years? And starting January 2025, how many applications have been submitted for Hawaiian home developments, whether it be by individuals or by developers? And then how much of a savings do you anticipate the department doing our own approvals that is going to save the rest of the county's development application? For instance, were we 5% of Honolulu County's applications and approval, or whatever that proper percentage was? And how many do you anticipate in the future? The other question that I have is, has the Department of Hawaiian Homes communicated the number of applications they anticipate to be submitting to you this year, 2025 and 2026? And I think this might be the last one. Is there, excuse me, any coordination between the department, our planning and permitting within DHHL, and within the city and county DPP? Is there any like type of sign off, or are you folks keeping count? How are we tracking that moving forward now that we have our own department that can do this? And I guess the final one, if for some reason there is a question as to the acceptance of our own home from our own department, DPP, is there any recourse that we would have and could find within the county's DPP? Yeah. Now, off the top, do you know if you folks have received any applications for any of the development that the department has good funding on and actually processing already?
So I think there's two different things between DPP and DHHL. There's now under ordinance, projects on DHHL land can go through, they can have self-certification, and that's where the design professional can self-certify a project and therefore not have the project go through DPP permitting. So that's one recent development. And
Yes.
then in general, for as long as DHHL has been around, DHHL could elect to forego building permits.
Yes.
So they could have it, right, so they could do that on an individual basis. I think it would have to be through DHHL. So if you're like a single family DHHL applicant or beneficiary, you would
Yes.
probably have to go through DHHL in order to have DHHL say that they're going to waive DPP's process and just plain, exemption under DHHL. And so I think just generally in the past, many of the developers have foregone through DHHL DPP permitting. I'm not aware of individual houses or, individual landowner or beneficiaries using the process. And so, but I can check on the stats and the questions that you had specific to this. There's also DPP has been trying to work on an MOU with DHHL to make sure that the process is complete. Because if you don't go through DPP to get a building permit, you're not able to get a certificate of occupancy. And so I don't know where DHHL is on that, if they were going to have their own inspectors and be able to issue their own certificates of occupancy. But that is one reason why people still want to go through DPP in order to get the permitting and the certificate of occupancy. And then lastly, we have made a lot of improvements. So the permitting time has improved and it will continue to improve, especially for single family owners. So I think that's always going to be an option, and it's going to be a better option as we continue to make these improvements.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So
Tom.
to your knowledge, as far as development project goes, has the department informed the county that they've already done 1, 2, or 3 of our own in-house approvals or development wide?
Not that I'm aware of, this newer effort, but I can check. I don't think that they have necessarily let us know that they've moved forward, but we can check on that. It would be good for us to know as well how many projects have gone through the DHHL review versus DPP.
Okay, and
Thank you,
so
Don.
would
I
you like me
appreciate
to
that.
send you a link of what the beneficiaries are
Sure.
informed of the projects and how many are coming up so that you have a comparison based upon what's publicly available?
Sure. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, Don, for
great.
that. Can you be sure that those questions that Kapua asked is answered and given to us in a report in the next meeting, please? I appreciate that a lot.
Sure. And
Thank you.
I'm sorry, my audio cut out, so the person before Kapua, I didn't get that information. So I'm hoping that the NCO staff caught the question because I couldn't hear it. I apologize.
No, it's okay. He got it. He said thumbs up.
Chair, I have a question. Me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Aloha, Don. I'm gonna revert back to the cultural training information. And I just wanted to ask a couple questions. How many police officers that are not from Wai'anae rotated in Wai'anae? How many police officers are not from Hawaii patrolling in Wai'anae? If you can get that information for us.
Okay.
And also the time schedules of the rotations.
Okay.
We have one community member come up to the mic.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gary Shinsato. A couple questions for Donna Puna. I wanted to find out what is the DPP's policy in terms of a developer circumventing the special management area permit process.
So if their project is in the SMA, the special management area, then they need to come through us. And it's hard to, there's government emergency proclamations and other types of kind of exemption or waiver routes, but the SMA requirement, you can't waive under like governor's EPs because it's basically a federal law that comes through the state and through the county, so it's not waivable by the governor. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but there really isn't a way to go get around it if you are in the SMA or if the project is of a certain value.
Okay, I understand that, but I guess more to the point, what is the punishment for a developer circumventing
Okay.
the SMA process permitting?
Yeah, so I'm not sure the exact, but I do believe that there can be fines. And some, we could issue violations if they've done work without going through the SMA process.
And also, besides fines, does it include permit revocation? Or in this case, it's the permit hasn't been issued, because when you look on your website, the process in getting an SMA, you cannot do any development on the site until you provide EA or EIS. And I know for a fact that the EA or EIS wasn't done before they grubbed the property, so that's in violation of the SMA permit process. So I just was wondering if one of the punishments is non-issuance of the permit, or if you did issue the permit, if it's revocable.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, it depends on the specific circumstances, but if they haven't gotten the SMA and are doing work, they're supposed to get the SMA prior to building permits. And so we would unravel all that and potentially revoke and issue violations and fines. So they would have to go start from the beginning and get the SMA, and if it requires EA or EIS, they'd have to do that prior to getting building permits.
Okay, this is pertaining specifically to 85-271 Mahina Ausch Road. Next question is dealing with RISE.
How many more questions do you have? Sorry.
Just one, just
Okay,
one.
thank
Just
you.
one. I wanted to find out, because there's confusion in the community. Andrea said at last month's meeting, full board meeting of Wai'anae, she said there was no governor's emergency proclamation, but yet when you look on the DPP's website, it was issued on March 19th, and the description was via governor's emergency proclamation. So my question is, under the governor's emergency proclamation, was it the 15th emergency proclamation that you guys are giving them the permit?
So there have been projects that have come through and they have used the governor's emergency proclamation in order to move forward with projects without some of the permitting required by DPP. The RISE project, and I'm getting them confused with some other projects. I don't think that one used the EP, but there have been others that have. I
Okay,
could be
you might
wrong
want to
about that.
you might want to check your website, because I got a snapshot of the website. It's the RISE project, tax map key 840-22020. And I got the governor's copy of the emergency proclamation. And according to the emergency proclamation, February 25th, 2025 was the 15th proclamation. And this thing was actually issued on March 19th, according to your website, via the emergency proclamation. So the community is kind of confused. Andrea Tupola, Councilmember Andrea Tupola said it's not, and she got it on the governor's homeless director, June Yang. He said it wasn't, but yet your website says it is, and I get this emergency proclamation. It's a general one, but it says 17th proclamation relating to homelessness. So I think we should actually put a pause on the project and iron out specific details, because it's creating confusion and backbiting between RISE and the community.
Don, can you get back to us on the next meeting with all of his concerns, please? Especially in regards to the website showing that there is an emergency proclamation, but we were told something else at the meeting on that, I believe it was last week. And yeah, that'd be great if you can get back to us.
Sure.
Yes. We're gonna move on to the next subject because we've been on this subject long, but I'm not dismissing anything you have to say. Yeah, there's a half sheet in the back there. If you can fill that out and bring it to us so that we can address it.
I don't think this concern can be on paper. I just left the beach to do protocol to gather the blood of Sua that was left on the driveway. He was murdered unbeknownst to him. So my question to the county is, what free range does the CRU have in our community? And what support services is available for our Polynesian community? For those struggling with mental health and drug addiction. The county's mayor, news station, portrayed Sua as a bad person. And people from our community, even Keiki, he has a wamut, he has loved those kids. He was shot down in cold blood in a car with no marking, no siren, no lights. They shot from within the car and Sua died. I came straight from the beach. And I just want the county to have answers of support for our community who are being targeted under mental illness and drug addiction problems. How many support homes are out here for our people? The mislabeling of Polynesian people is a no-go. That is heva. We are labeling people, victimizing them, creating a narrative that is false, and not standing behind the truth of our people. Sua didn't even have a gun. We don't even have answers. And I just want the county to step up, because you have an obligation to Awamo, our community. One of the largest Hawaiian communities that exists in the world is here. They have a duty under their 103, 150 to take care of our people, irregardless of our nation's status and jurisdiction of Kanaka Maoli people. He died under the watch of the county. A man who didn't even know who was following him and didn't have the due process of the law. What is the CRU's guidelines in how they bring in our people? He didn't have an opportunity to stop or speak because they shot him and he died. And I'm just asking for our community to rally together, and enough is enough. A lot of Polynesian men have died out here under that watch. And a lot of families have no answers. And we are being targeted. We are being targeted in our own nation with a municipal body corporate with no treaty of annexation. I know the law. And so I'm just asking for our board to please, whatever you can do to advocate for more support, more funds, more homes, nonprofits that can come in here and support beds. He was not able to stay in a home because they couldn't afford a bed because never have enough people. And that is the cycle of indoctrination and a side effect of genocide. And this needs to stop. Mahalo for your guys' time. Please love our community because they're dying out there. It's a war. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Chair, I'd just like to say something fast, Chair, please. Sua's last act, he had given one of his kidneys to another tita from Wai'anae Moku so that she can go on with her life.
Yep. Mahalo for that. I saw that. That was that was good. That was amazing. Okay, we're gonna move on to 4.6, which is Honolulu Council, member Andrea Tupola.
Hi, aloha chair. So Inaya and board members, congratulations and welcome back to some of you. And you guys are a very active board. Aside from just here, many of you are active in lots of other things. So thank you very much. First off, I just wanted to say thank you to those who came to the bill signing for Bill 11, 12, and 13. We had it at the Wai'anae Police Station. Those were specifically parts of the Wai'anae Public Safety Plan that I launched, and I did drop the link inside the chat. I would love for everyone to please read it and please sign it. These are the suggestions from the community from last year's town hall. Over 500 people at Wai'anae High School, including all of our youth. I want us to follow this plan together as a community because it was written by the community and try to get these things done. And part of it was the 3 bills for the game room. We have a couple bills on the state side, and then of course we have our school resource officer that's going to be starting at Nanakuli come this fall for the 2025-2026 school year. At the last council meeting for transportation, we talked about our school zones. So if you're not aware, in all the school zones, the speeding is actually going to be coming down from 25 to 20 miles per hour. The DTS is working on changing all of the signage and enforcing that. It's something that's going to help to keep our school zones safer. I just wanted to reiterate that there is a new department or agency under the Attorney General, and that is actually for specifically human trafficking. It's called Special Investigations and Prosecution Division. The head of it is Dave Van Acker. I actually run a biannual Stop Human Trafficking conference, and so I've worked with him. I know Kauko who had that question, but specifically their agency runs it. NARCO does play a part in it, but Dave Van Acker from the Attorney General's is the one that runs it. And then of course they have a missing child division that they kind of partner with them. Lastly, there was a question from someone regarding the Charter Commission. So there's a few commissions that were just stood up if you didn't know. One of them is the Honolulu Charter Commission. They are starting their very first round of meetings, and these are important conversations. In fact, for board member Nani and possibly Kauko'ohu and Dana, there could be something written into the charter. So the charter is kind of like the constitution for the state, but on the city side, they call it the Honolulu City Charter. These have to be vetted, they have to be voted on, they have to be put on the ballot, but you could put on something in regards to training for Native Hawaiian cultural practices, maybe throughout all the departments. So those are the kind of engaging community conversations we can have at those meetings. You can look on the Honolulu website for their next meeting. The other commission that was just stood up is the Ocean Safety Commission. This commission is going to be put in at our next full council meeting. They will actually be choosing who will be the permanent upcoming ocean safety chief. And they also will handle any of the issues similar to how we have a police commission. They will handle any issues for ocean safety. So I'll stop there. There's a lot of stuff going on in this city. As you know, we're year round, and I'm open for questions.
Board, is there any questions?
I have a question. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. My question was, when Mayor Blangiardi had his town hall at Kalaniaʻanaole Beach Park, he had said that the fill or the rail was gonna make it to School Street by October. Is that still on point?
I know that they're pushing for that date. When he stated it, it was a very optimistic date, but I do know that within the Heart Board, they are trying to gear up to finish it by the end of this year. But they said they're trying to hit the mayor's goal of October 1st. I can't answer whether or not they'll still hit that goal, but you can ask Lori Kahikina. She's probably going to be the person who knows exactly when it's going to drop. She's very, very hesitant that we can do it by October 1st because there's so many things that have to be worked out, but definitely before the end of this year is what she told me.
Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, because Mayor Blangiardi was very adamant with that at Kalaniaʻanaole Beach Park at the town hall. So thank you.
Dana, go ahead.
Aloha, Andrea. Just a question in regards to this is our new board. And for me, I would like to ask you your direction over the course of the next year. Just because next year is what, elections for a council member?
Not for me. So ours is 4 years. So I just finished mine last year. So I have another 2 years after that. So
yeah, the 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can, like, this is a new board, just give us some direction on what are major, at least five, five major points you would like to push within our community so we can either work with you, figure out how we can make this happen. Yeah, I think the direction for us as a community is to kind of stop fighting, look at real situations and kind of bring solutions to those situations. I think the policing state is not what we want in Wai'anae. I think culture plays a huge kind of it assists in people in doing the right thing. It can really transform the community, and we don't have enough of it in our community right now. We got to get back to being Kanaka.
Agreed. Yeah, I thank you so much for your Manao and of course for thinking from that paradigm. I would say the 5 things would be homelessness. As many of you guys know, I'm very active in trying to help house individuals, and I thank Dana as well as Nani for their assistance. Recently, we've met up about that. Secondly, housing. So there are a few things that are coming up that pertain to like deeply affordable, which is like $300 around there a month, which we have very few of that in our community. And then public safety. So I wrote out the Wai'anae public safety plan, which I have on change.org, as well as I've distributed to most of you guys because I want everyone to sign it. Fourthly, I would say no landfills. I'm pursuing many pieces of legislation so we have no more landfills on Oahu, and we move to a more sustainable process. And lastly, I would say I am fighting tooth and nail to try to bring down that wastewater fee. We just took a vote on it and it's way too high. The vote that we took, which I voted no, is 6.7% increase next year, 8% the year after, 9 for 7 years. It's too much. So I'm with the EPA. I'm going to ask if there are certain things that they can do on the congressional level. And hopefully, if we get enough traction, we can kind of readdress that and bring those down. That's just going to kill local families if we have to triple, quadruple people's water bills. And I don't think it's fair. So those would be the 5 things, board member.
Hey, thank you so much. Mahalo.
Angela,
Yes.
would you need the help of the community to come out with you when you meeting with EPA? If you need them to here, let us know.
I will. I'm going with Esther Kiaina very soon to go up there and have our first round of conversations.
Mahalo.
In person? I know. We do in person. Go ahead.
Aloha. This is Blessings.
Aloha, Blessing.
No, you're fine.
Hi,
Aloha.
my name is Shelly Acosta. There was a meeting you had on June 16th on my family's property for the RISE project. It was
Yes.
at Cicera Drake's house. So I would like to know what is the result of that meeting.
Thank you so much for asking. I did meet with Carla yesterday. I suggested to her again for the second or third time that that is not an appropriate place to have a 20-unit housing project. As of right now, they have not applied for a conditional use permit. And that means that you can have unrelated people living on that property. So as far as the property usage, it's not approved to be used as that. There is no emergency proclamation on that property. I verified that with June. I did offer to Carla to look at other sites in Wai'anae that are not in that area, but no holio, no sewer, no water, no lights. It's a very difficult project. And moreover, to your point, having it with the neighbors that are immediately next to it. And I expressed this to Carla directly, so I feel fine saying this out loud. It broke my heart that the immediate neighbors had never spoken with her face to face, because to me, that was a super important point of it. But we all had a meeting with Chris Maroka yesterday, and both he and I described that to her, that like for us, those were important things. I wanted more face-to-face communication and not just only through neighborhood board. But I told them I'm willing to work with them on finding other properties where they can, still help the youth. I want them to help our youth. We need help for our youth. But Noholio for me is not a place that has the right infrastructure.
Right. I mean, they can find a property that is a lot closer to the bus routes and job opportunity. They're putting them in the middle of nowhere where it's a dark street, no lights. They got to walk about 15 minutes to get to the bus and then still catch the bus out of Wai'anae to even get a job.
Yeah, I'm going to show her some other properties that are actually a little bit better, bigger, lighting right next to the bus line. So we haven't made that meeting yet, but I wanted to talk with her face to face. Yesterday, actually, I was on Zoom, Chris was in face, and tell her myself what I thought of the meeting. I'm glad we had it, but yes, my stance is that it's not the appropriate place.
And I also work with environmental, so hearing how the demolition was done without them putting up the screens and protecting the residents in the area. You have PFAS in the pipe system for the sewers that was not tested, sampled. It's a form of asbestos. You have asbestos in the tiling, you have asbestos in the drywalls. None of that was done to protect. So if they do find another property, can you hold them accountable to protecting residents within the facility? Because they can shoot the dirt. It's in the air. It's not in the dirt. It's all up in the air. It floats up and they're putting people's health at risk. So if you don't care about the residents putting their health at risk, how are we supposed to trust you to take care of these young adults? You're just going to put them there and then disappear.
I hear you. I understand, and I agree with you guys. It was unfortunate there was no general contractor there to answer many of the questions we had. But again, I did reach out to Carla and I told her, can we please just start anew and look at a property that really is suitable for this type of this type of idea, which is not inside a residential area that has no sewer line, has no light. So I appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.
Hello, Andrea. But before I
Hi,
start,
Uncle.
I want to address, I got a question for our Jeff Jones, for our neighborhood board commissioner. Before I start, please define to me, what is decorum? Define what is that itself? Decorum. Before I start my.
Are you what are you referencing exactly? Just like the general definition of decorum, or
Decorum,
what?
yes,
How
yes.
it relates
How
to
it
the meeting?
applies to this neighborhood board in meetings.
I never get questions. I'm just kidding. So for order and decorum, it's simply how the board conducts themselves and the meeting space while the meeting is going on. So for example, that comes down to the rules of speaking. It comes down to keeping the meeting space a respectful space, things of that nature. That relates to both regular neighborhood board meetings and committee meetings. There's an order and decorum that follows for both.
I thank you so very much. Andrea, what your decision is based on this city bill 64, 2023, CD2, FD2, substantiate what you are stating right now. There is a location just about 400 feet from this Rise property. And this substantiate on the group living, large group living, that they cannot be within 1,000 feet. A 300-page law that was made in 2023 that substantiate your statement as well too. I support that totally. Thank you,
Correct.
Councilwoman.
Correct,
But what-
Uncle. Many people don't know that. Just for clarification, group living facilities can't be located near each other in like back-to-back areas. Continue, Uncle.
Okay. With that said, this meeting was addressed back. You sent me a letter, an email, Uncle. Get the residents and the landowners in the area of Noholio Road. But Rise's property also shares the same backyard of Jade Street, Upper Jade Street. And I invited these people for Rise, and you said to be on, it was June 8th, neighborhood board meeting. You announced that this meeting on June 16th. But what I'm concerned about is the other community came in that is not from Jade Street, that created an upsetting situation there. It caused it a divide in our community. That's what I'm upset about. A mainland operation coming into our area, calling for other people in our community, and set it a conflict, a divide. Channel 2, Channel 4 News that did the coverage, dropping the F-bombs and everything. We did not on Noholio Road. I live on Noholio Road. The only person I invited was Richard Lanford, because he lives there. I noticed the neighborhood board officials was there as well too, but was not sworn in. I even noticed Joe Jordan also sitting on the property of Rise's property, but did not engage into our meeting. I was kind of disgruntled about that. Why not give us equal attention as she gives Rise? So that's my concern as well too. Never came to us, bringing issues to us and asking us what is our differences, but give equal, not unequal attention to Rise and entertain Rise's concerns, but not the residents of Noholio Road. That's what I have a problem with this neighborhood board right now, because they created a conflict within the community. And I don't appreciate that. But thank you, Uncle Richard, for standing up for Noholio Road, because you live there. And that's the only person I invited. But the rest, I'm sorry. That was not Pono. I lived there. This was brought into my front yard, and that was my complaint. But again, Andrea, you did substantiate what it was made in 2023. This is the law. If we cannot support our law, why have it? 300 pages worth. I ain't gonna tell you guys a section. You guys read it all. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. James calls. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
Aloha, James. Aloha, James.
First things first, I just wanted to say you did a good job at the moderator at that meeting, Nohelio. I just showed up just to listen. I want to see what's going on. I just wanted to listen. But my question for you is for ocean safety. Right now, the Ocean Safety Department, especially out this side, has a big problem with equipment, as i.e. jet skis. These jet skis that they have are so old that a couple of guys got to drive all the way downtown to take parts off the old machines and bring them back here to fix the machines that they have, that they're using. My question is how can we get them new equipment? They need it desperately out because that's our life and our community's life at stake if they get stuck out in the ocean and they have no way to get back in.
Yeah, so
and
we
no
can
help.
put it in, we can put it into the budget. Our budget's annual, July 1 to June 30th. We work with all the departments. I support ocean safety with everything they need, including putting up the new tower at Kahe's. I actually helped them put up the first junior lifeguard program at Kolina. They run one in Makaha, but we don't have any other ones on the west side, so we chose another location. But I will get with Chief Logger and talk to him about it. They haven't asked me for jet skis. They've asked me for places to store their equipment and so on and so forth. But I will get with them directly and ask them what their needs are. Thank you.
Well, I'm asking for, as a community member for jet skis. And
Yeah,
my
so
unders-
I just have to run it by the chief because he's the head of the department. I have to ask him what needs he has and then also like what the priorities are. But I hear you. I just want to make sure that I'm supporting the direction that they need to go because they may need other things first before those, but I will ask him for sure.
I understand that. And also, I just found out that the financial officer for the ocean safety resigned. And is there any other prospect coming up in to take his place? soon?
I can get back to you about that. I'm not sure.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Councilwoman Andrea. So I'm a resident. Oh, my name is Wai'anae Goodman. Sorry, I'm a resident of Mahina'au. I just want to make a comment because I really appreciate that you work with the groups that are having challenges. I feel like you've asked us on Mahina'au and you've asked the residents of Noholio, right, to try to come together with whatever groups we're having struggles with. I feel like you're asking us to do that, and that's not a problem, but we're here because people are not being transparent. I feel like they infiltrate our neighborhoods, then they start grubbing illegally without the correct permits, and there's a sense of disrespect, right? If you're going to clear your property, then at least care about the residents that are right next to that property. That's all it is, right? It's a general respect for our community. And that's what makes Wai'anae so special. We live in a very small community and we work really hard to try to foster our neighborhoods and our community. But when you come in, wherever you are, and your project might be a great project, who doesn't believe in helping teenagers that are on the streets? Everybody can stand behind that. But then have some respect, right? If you're going to choose a property, then at least come and introduce yourself, talk to the residents, and that includes the development on Mahina'au. We barely got the pastor's name. We had to go research that. We can sit down with them, but they've never come to us. And when we've tried to extend it, at least once or twice, my husband has tried, we haven't gotten anywhere. So my message is for not only the board, but our community, right? Have some respect for your neighbors. You want to come in and do business, then think about the people that are going to live right next to you. And then maybe we don't have to get into such a crazy relationship and we can start by just talking. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Agreed. Agreed.
Councilwoman, can we ask that whatever questions people have, if you can take the questions and then come back to us next meeting, please?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Chair.
Please, thank you.
Aloha, board. Congratulations. I was going to address you folks before I start with the pull-up. This is a new board. Gotta remember, have the heart and listen to your community. Because we've been going through things over and over. If you do not have the heart to find Pono, to heal your communities that's hurting, please dismiss you guys self. Because that's what we need. We don't need dysfunctional that we had, dysfunctional family boards. We've been having it for years and years. Enough is enough. Listen to your committee. Listen to the people. That's all I have to say. Now I'm going to go to the councilwoman. Mahalo. Andrea, you know we've been transparent. Noholio residents has been transparent. But what I disagree with, when we be transparent, you have to be Pono. You have to respect your kupunas surrounding that's living there.
Yeah.
If there is no Pono or disrespect and F-bombs we're dropping everywhere, that is not Pono. And you got to remember, you got drug on our streets. We all know what goes on J Street, Lahaina, every place. We all know there's drugs, there's game rooms. Come on, reality. And this is where you want to put this operation of Rise. You got to remember, we just got somebody killed, Makaha Valley. On the side of the road, there's no lights, Makaha Valley. That family member was a Rodriguez. Are you guys going to wait for someone to get killed and then you guys going to react? And you cannot turn around and have septic tanks. You're going to flood your neighbors. Okay, so you got to think. We're not running for politics. I like to call it politics. We're not running for office, but we listen to our kupunas. We didn't go and take this fight on. They came out to ask for help because nobody was listening. How do you be good neighbors when number one, they were not good to start with? When number two, accusations, false accusation, definition of character. Number three, like I said, it's your meeting. You're supposed to take control. No one asked it. Anti-Tutsi, the kupuna. We did our best to communicate, but when people slandering them on Facebook, Instagram, and saying we're not good, that she's not good. How dare our community make judgments like that upon a family that built their house from the bottom up? Before you start judging, look at your own self. Clean your holly before you try turning around building another holly. You got to find your own self before you start shoving things on people's throat. It's not all good and games. But to see, it tears me up to see my own Hawaiian people, one Hawaiian side, fighting against the other. What happened
Kale,
to our
do you have a
Pono?
question for
Yeah, I have a question.
Thank
When
you.
you going to work with a community to find a Pono? For years, they've been like this. Enough is enough.
Auntie Calais, I
Auntie
stood in the middle of that meeting for hours mediating, and I did my best to hear both sides. I was fair to both sides, and I still wrote and came out with the same conclusion. Even all of the news reporters that stood there, they were like, how did you mediate for that long? So I know that there was passionate moments on both sides, passionate moments. But yet I thought by the end of the meeting that people were heard And I know for a fact that Auntie Tootsie reached out and she's going to talk with Carla, which I think that's their own separate conversation they have to have. But I thank you for being there. Everyone that was there, we tried our best to respect any questions they had, any input that they had. And I thought that that was the outcome of the meeting was good. It was good because that was the first time Auntie Tootsie had even been able to speak to them. So to your point, Auntie, I think that was the most important part of the meeting. That was because she is the direct neighbor next to them. So thank you very much to the Rodriguez family for hosting us that day, and to all the members of Noholia Road, because all of them were out there that day. And I thank you guys for being there.
Thank you, Andrea.
But
Thank you,
it could
Auntie
have been
Calais.
better. It could have been better. It could have been more pono.
Thank you, Auntie Calais. We have Keline online. Keline? You're muted. Unmute. Keline, we're gonna move to Kapua because I think you're having difficulties with your mic. So Kapua?
Mahalo, babe. I just lost my note. Okay, so I forgot to congratulate the board and Terry for being the new chairman. Mahalo for winning the elections and for serving our community. And same thing with you, Councilwoman Popola. You know, mahalo for your second term. And I'm going to say this. I hope you take the pay raise, even though you initially opposed it, because like you mentioned earlier, this is a full all-year job, and that's what the pay is for, all-year job. So if you and Augie and the third person haven't taken it, I highly suggest you take it while it's there for you to take. You earn it. As far as my concerns, I know you're going to oppose the landfills, but with PVT being the only type of landfill like that, and both of them are in our community, I'm afraid that what's going to happen is some eminent domain movement by the county and saying to serve the greater good. But for PVT, if we don't replace that somewhere, what are they going to do? Stop construction? I don't think that's going to happen. So how do we, the whole island wide, accommodate that? Either stop construction or close it down the way that it's supposed to be. Regarding Wai'anae, okay,
I'll come back
go
with
ahead,
those
babe.
answers, Auntie, because I do actually have answers for all of those.
Okay, great. And then the other one is for I was gonna say the Wai'anae Gulch. Let's break it down. Why does it have to be only one? I mean, everybody's bringing all of their trash out to Campbell. You can pack that amount of weight with ash to wherever the moku is. And that's a problem because or Oahu talks about only having one for centralization and how it saves money. But you know what? It doesn't serve our community the way it serves the rest of the community. So where's the parity in that? How are we all sharing in this burden? So, please stand strong. And when you need us, call us. I'm better at texting than emails. So feel free to do that. And the other thing is Kaupuni Park. I mean, it's terrible that people have taken to damaging and destroying beautiful community parks, their playgrounds. So the parks focuses, and I should have mentioned this to Don, is, focus on repairing, replacing those that have been recently damaged, vandalized, and burned. But Kaupuni Park, we have not had a playground in over 10 years. In the
I have an
meantime,
update for you on that one, Auntie. I'll
okay,
give it
great.
next
You
month,
can
but
run that one.
I have a
And
good update.
then I think that was it. But take the pay raise. I'll do
Thank
the
you,
same
Auntie.
thing. Okay, mahalo. Aloha.
Mahalo.
Thank you, Kapua. So Keline going to be the last one. So Keline Kahau. You gotta unmute. Can you just type your question, Keline, to Councilwoman Woman Andrea Tupola, please. And then we're moving
Yeah,
on.
Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you. So now we're moving on to 4.7, and that's ocean safety. Aloha.
Mahalo board for having us here. This is our second meeting from a new department that we just got appointed. Like Andrea said, we're waiting for our chief. The $1 million question. I have this. Oh, sorry. Everybody just calls me KK, but my name is Captain Crone. I've been working the Leeward Coast since 1989. I've been out here. I'll give you the stats for May. We just haven't compiled our stats for June yet. We just got them in. Sorry about this. Kiavua, we had an attendance of 18,753 people. We had 2,700 preventive actions, 63 minor first aid, and we had a public contact of 3,320. Makaha Beach, we had an attendance of 24,600. We had 3,272 preventive actions, 158 minor first aids, and 4,800 public contacts. Pokai Bay, we had an attendance of 28,685. We had 2,093 preventive actions, 284 minor first aids, and we had a public contact of 2,775 public contact. The month of May, we had no drownings on the Leeward Coast. Had a couple calls that we had 4 people on 2 stand-up boards swept out of Makua that we rescued. We had multiple shark sightings at Pokai Bay. We've had 6 shark sightings during the month of May at Pokai Bay. Tiger sharks up to 8 feet. We had 5 people on a turboat that we assisted, and we had 1 broken shoulder for the month of May at Makaha Beach.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question. Thanks, KK, for being here. I'm glad that we have representation from water safety, being that we have the best beaches on Oahu, and I stand to that. But so the stats that you were just sharing, was that just in a monthly period or?
That's just the monthly period.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff so you guys gotta take care of. So really appreciate you guys out there. Mahalo.
Thanks.
Any other board member has a question? Anyone in person has come up?
Aloha, Chief. Kalei Saucedo. How many, did you folks have any, Kiabu Ula, any rescues there?
For the month of May, I believe we had 3 rescues there in the month of May.
3
That are documented rescues.
3 documented rescues, okay.
Might have been other rescues that weren't documented, undocumented, but the majority is prevention.
Okay, was that tourist or local?
I'll have to check the stats on it. It's on our stats, it's not divided up tourist or local.
You can get that information though for us next meeting?
I'll have to get it from my chief.
Okay.
Don't have access to the main.
Okay.
Okay, the reason I'm asking, sir, is because we've been getting a lot of tractions from the tourist buses and everything, and the park, and sometimes it narrows the road. So there is a big concern when it's going to narrow the road, because one day there's going to be a tragic accident, and you folks won't be able to go in because sometimes you can't even get a car, or you can have a U-turn for emergency purposes, whether it's ambulance, fire, and everything. So the board, I'm asking you folks to take the initial steps. You guys know we got a problem out there. So that has to be addressed. So let's not let things fall through the cracks like it's been done before. Because if the tourists could come down, we need to get our share so we can do something out there. Whether a toll gate, Hanama Bay has a toll gate, locals get ID. That way, that money goes back. not into somebody's back pocket, but to put some kind of security. They're making money off of the tourists. They're making money off the tour boats or diving tour buses. Stop putting our share back in there and keep it in our community for safety and bettering our community, not for back pocket, not for campaigns. Thank you, Chief.
Mahalo, Chair. So I don't have a question. I actually have comment for the department. And it's mahalo, 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 because I know he only got to read the stats for May. And I just wanted to share. I know some of this is just numbers that we're hearing, and we don't really see the in-depth like service that our lifeguards give every single day to our people. Just last week there was a shark sighting, and they thought they only sighted one shark. And as the lifeguard was out there deterring, and this is above and beyond their call of duty to deter the shark out of the bay, and then it ended up being two sharks that was averaging for about 12 feet long. So the fact that it was that close to our Keiki swim the most, and it's summer, like for you guys to have been that alert and aware, like we have no idea when you're telling us to get out of the water, there is a very specific reason, you know what I mean? Like, so just an awareness to community, like when lifeguards is just doing their job, like sometimes we like give them hassle or don't jump off the rock wall, and like just mahalo for your guys' service. I feel like we always, recognize our police department, our firefighters, because that's more common. Just, I feel like there's not enough recognition to our lifeguards, and they put their lives at risk every single day as well. So mahalo for your guys' ike and your guys' excellence.
Is there any? Okay, we're moving on to, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
for your time.
Appreciate you.
We're moving on to number 5, so board business. Determination of meeting, date, time, and location.
I would say since been on 11 years, that, I mean, the first Tuesday works. We're, and we amount to that. So, yeah, I would just suggest keeping it that, but, we have new board members that can share them on all.
So Chair, I'd like to make a motion that the Wai'anae Coast Neighborhood Board continues to meet on the first Tuesday of every month, with the exception of election years, because that's normally a holiday and facilities are closed. We continue to meet at 6:30 like we did this evening. And for the time being, we continue to meet right here at Satellite City Hall, because the district park is still under renovations, possibly till early next year. So that would be my recommendation, to kind of sub off of what Kaukaohu has stated. Same time, same place, same bat station.
Second.
Okay, the motion was second. Is there any opposition or any feedback, comments? Dana or Mr. Endo online?
Yes. Or I.
Okay, you're in support. Okay. Okay, due to no objections or abstentions, we're gonna continue as stated by Chair Joe Jordan, the date, time, and place. Okay, moving on to next item, determination of recess schedule up to 3 per year. So we already know one is election, November, the first Tuesday, in November.
Of every election year. So next year is an election year, so that's gonna be beyond our 1-year term, right? So maybe I could request to table this until next month, so we can kind of look at a schedule for the next year and then propose something next month on possible schedule recessing for the board.
Second.
With that being tabled, I'll throw something on the table as well. Typically, boards will recess during the holiday season, either December or January, and typically during graduation, which would be May and June. Just to throw that out there for the board for decision for next month.
Yeah, so just be mindful that December, we could always meet because we meet the beginning of the month. But in January, we come right around the heels of New Year's, but hearing our community's concerns, council is full session, state is in full session. So as we all think about it, coming into next month, provide your suggestions to the chair. And we'll work on it then. Mahalo.
5.3 is adoption of oral testimony rules.
In previous years, we've done 2 minutes per person, and then we've conducted testimony in the way of Robert's Rules of Order. I would like to note again, as we continue to try and follow that as much as possible, going in order of, again, people raising their hand, decorum, et cetera, et cetera. And I have one comment that may not be necessarily related to oral testimony of the community, but the board. Would you like me to share it now or later? I would like to make and I proposed this last year too, in order to be fair and equitable, if we hold the community accountable, we should also hold ourselves accountable. So if we're going to only allow them 2 minutes, then the board should also be held to 2 minutes as well. Again, with Robert's Rules of Order, that doesn't mean, thank you guys. That doesn't mean 2 minutes and you're done. It just means 2 minutes and then the next person goes. And then if there's no one else to speak, then again, whoever's left can re-go again, if that makes sense. Thank you.
So 2 minutes, anybody has any objection?
So Chair, may I?
Yes, go ahead.
So if we look in the box that was placed on the agenda, I think this is what Board Member Cross is speaking to, the 2 minutes. Maybe we can add in the request that board members stay within those 2 minutes as well.
Yeah. Concur with that in regards to what's good for the community should be good for the board. That's fair enough. Can someone make a motion to?
I make a motion to make that amendment in addition of holding the former oral testimony guidelines to include what I just proposed, which is to have the board be subject to those guidelines as well.
Second.
Okay, we got a second. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Next one, 5.4, designation of board committees and committee chairs. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, sorry. Backing up, sorry. 5.3, in regards to the 2 minutes per person, which includes community and the board. Are there any objections or abstentions? Online, Mr. Endo or Dana? Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, that has passed. So now we're moving on to 5.4, the designation of board committees and committee chairs.
Chair, can I make a suggestion that we table that to next month? The motion, can I make a motion that we table 5.4 to next month?
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, tabling 5.4. Oh, we need to go to a vote. So any objections or abstentions? Okay, hearing none. Now we're moving to 5.5. Decision to support and participate combined special meeting with Nanakuli and Makakilo neighborhood boards in regards to Atlantis development.
So just to provide some backstory on that. So the Makakilo Kapolei Neighborhood Board is requesting for the Wai'anae Nanakuli Neighborhood Boards to participate in a joint special meeting regarding this development. Again, the board does not have to, it's up to the board if they would wish to support in the meeting or not. Just wanted to provide some backstory. It's regarding that development. This was put on by Member Gannabon, who is not present, and while he was, of course, in his position as chair, he put this on the agenda. So this would be a motion if the board wants to put the motion on the table to support, and we can go from there if the board wishes to support or not support.
Yeah,
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to support the Wai'anae Coast Neighborhood Board. Joins in with the Nanakuli, Maili Neighborhood Board and the Makakilo Neighborhood Boards in public meetings regarding the discussion of Atlantis development.
second. Definitely second.
Is there any objections or abstentions to this? Dana or Mr. Endo online? Okay.
I would object. I would like to see that that the developer has a responsibility to go to each and every community to share that the impact that these developments will have on the communities. So having one meeting makes it easier for the developer.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So you gotta take a vote.
So just to clarify, so that's one, so with board member Newman's vote, the board still has the quorum vote to support for the Wai'anae Neighborhood Board to meet with Makakilo and Nanakuli. Just putting that on the table just to clarify for the people in the room.
Board member Newman brought up that was a great, on that, so.
Absolutely, that is.
Chair,
So,
close.
do you have any discussion? Any board members would like discussion on that?
I would like discussion. I would just like to note, I'm not necessarily opposed to not doing a combined meeting. I would just like to note that in preparation for it, I think the chairs of the boards would have to, plan accordingly, because like who's going to be leading the meeting, just like all of those logistics, I just would hope that would be planned equitably between the three boards to conclude that it would be ran as efficiently as possible.
Go ahead.
So, Chair, I think this might be a start to something new you may be seeing along the entire Leeward Coast, because what affects one community may affect the other community. So when we're talking about Atlantis development, this is a large hotel that's being proposed in the Kapolei area. And normally they would just have to go to that nearby neighborhood board, which is Kapolei. So I think this is a move in a different direction to say, hey, could all boards come together and ask their qualifying questions of the project? That's not precluding us as a board to reach out to these developers and have them come before our individual boards as well. So I think this provides maybe some sort of unification of the entire coastline to start making a stance for things to come. I mean, I think we need to test the waters at some point in time. I don't see a harm in having a meeting as long as we're having this single discussion on there, and then each individual board can also have those conversations as well as we all move forward, right?
Chair, if I'm able to speak, I've been in a community through my previous employment before they started the call, in between Kapolei and Nanakuli, and we were promised, the community was promised a lot of stuff, so it never came through. So we were not aware of it. We had some people that was our elected officials as well as some other functional community leaders that guided us and said that they was going to do this, they was going to get our kids to get good jobs and so on and so forth. Here it is 35 years later and it never happened. So I would suggest that any opportunity that our community has to be aware of what's coming down the pipe, that we should, take it with a grain of salt. We should at least involve ourselves in there. So not that I'm supporting the Makakilo board, or not that I'm supporting the project or not supporting the project, but it's informative that we as the community go out there and find out for ourselves, because I've seen a lot of promises and I've seen a lot of disappointment. We still have disappointment as far as I'm concerned with the Disney guys there, that because they don't allow us to have a bus going through there. So if they don't have a bus, that means community, we don't want you guys there. We don't want general public through there because we don't allow the bus through there. So, I still have some hard feelings with them because they always say, oh, Wai'anae this, Wai'anae that. And, they use the Hawaiians, they use all us Hawaiians. And then yet we cannot afford $700 a night for stay in their rooms. That's crazy. That's crazy. But my suggestion is I would like us to participate and come up with different ideas or different opinions, even if it's good, bad, or whatever. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, can I just add more context to some of the statements that were made in terms at one time, Paulina was maybe part of the Wai'anae Nanakuli community, but more recently it's become part of the Kapolei community, when in fact we know that it won't have the type of impact to community as it will to Wai'anae and Nanakuli. So that's the only reason I would ask for these developers to come in and discuss. If not, our community shouldn't even support new development in the area. And yes, like Uncle Richard says, because the developer, it's privately owned, right? The developer gets to say who, what, where, when can come into their community. It's exclusive. And it has nothing to do with Disney. It has everything to do with Jeff Stone and his development. Yeah, that's my position.
Okay, so we're gonna put this up for a vote then.
So with that discussion, I'll conduct a roll call vote for the same motion for the Wai'anae Coast Neighborhood Board to support a combined special meeting with Nanakuli and Makakila neighborhood boards regarding the Atlantis development. Okay, so I'll go down the order that I have here. Board Member Jordan,
Aye.
Board Member Endo, Board Member Lanford, Board Member Wahilani, Board Member Crab,
Aye.
Board Member Peterson, Board Member Newman online,
No.
and Chair Sabah.
Aye.
So after that roll call vote, the Wai'anae Coast Neighborhood Board is in support of holding the combined special meeting with Nanakuli and Makakila neighborhood boards regarding the Atlantis development. Thank you. The date is pending. This is just for the board to support having that joint meeting. And when the date is decided, the same agenda, just to clarify for special meetings, the same agenda will go out to the Makakilo, Nanakuli, and Wai'anae neighborhood boards pending Nanakuli's decision to support or not support the meeting. They meet, of course, later this month.
Okay, so now we're moving on to 5.6, approval of regular meeting minutes for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025.
Chair, I would like to make a motion to support the minutes from June 3rd I have one proposed amendment. That would be under the mayor's representative at the top of page 2. Right after the word Waimanalo Gulch, there's a word church permit concerns. That was actually in regards to Cedar Church permit concerns. So could we add the word Cedar in front of church, please? That would be my motion.
Can I get a second?
Second with improvements.
Any objections or abstentions?
Board Member Crab abstain.
Here, I have a amendment to the meeting. Johnny May. I have an amendment to the minutes.
Okay, Johnny May, since you were a board member during that time, we'll definitely take your amendment. What would your amendment be? Just for the record.
I emailed you, so page 3 of 4. I
Okay.
left the meeting after Ma'o.
Got it. I'll make
Yeah.
sure that amendment's reflected before the approved minutes are posted. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Chair, I would like to change my amendment to include, my motion to include the correction by former member Perry.
Second.
Is there any objections or abstentions?
Board Member Crab abstain.
Okay. I just want to thank the community for coming out, and we're going to adjourn the meeting. And then board members stay because Senator DeCourt has a video for us. This meeting is adjourned.